thank you very much. This is going to be my first time doing a live demonstration of this technology. It's the Emotive EEG headset. I didn't build it, but I found out about it. I bought the developer edition for about $500, which includes the headset and the SDK. And I've been tinkering with it, and let me just show you. I'm going to go through, to keep it under 5 minutes, I'm going to just show some of the inputs it takes, and then you can ask me questions and this kind of thing. All right, so the first thing I want to show you is the mouse emulator. This doesn't actually do anything to do with the EEG. It's just a gyroscope built in, but it's still very handy as I can tilt my head, and right now it's ridiculously sensitive. Let me turn that down a little bit. There we go. That's much better. So I can tilt my head to move the mouse side to side, up and down. Hands-free, no cheating. All right. And that's one very useful thing. And then another useful thing, and I don't know if this one is going to be very finicky because of my stage jitters, but basically this will have this will match my facial expressions, or right now it's doing my nervous smile and chattering and this kind of thing. So it can pick up facial expressions. There's a lot you can do to refine it, but again, you know, nervous in front of a bunch of people, it does break down a little bit sometimes. Still very interesting. Here's a list on the side right here of all the different stuff it can pick up and sensitivity. Now that was the expressive suite. This is the affective suite, and this describes different emotional interactions and states. Right now you can see that as I get more and more excited of describing this and this kind of thing, you can see the black instantaneous excitement goes up, and as I try to relax, you know, it goes down. And so there's a lot of you can actually see, you know, in a very general but still surprisingly accurate sense, sort of what broad emotions are going through someone's head when they're wearing this headset. You'll notice a lot of these signal is noisy warnings. That's because I did a small modification to this headset. I used cotton balls instead of the felt tip pads that it came with, because these are more comfortable for longer use, and they don't dry out as quickly with the saline solution, making it a little more usable, but sometimes a bit less accurate. Okay, now here is the coolest part. I saved it for last specifically because you got to save the best for last. And if I calm myself, I will move this cube with my mind. I'm going to push it to the back of the screen. There we go. It was working a lot better out there. And then I can also pull it towards me. I can hopefully pull it towards me. There we go. There we go. It takes a lot of practice, and you can refine it. Now, with the SDK, and as I'm chatting, and it'll randomly do that kind of stuff. So in order to do this kind of thing, you have to train a neutral state where you start with a baseline. You kind of stay calm, and then after that, you just concentrate really hard on trying to push it and trying to pull it and the other actions you can do. Let's see. I don't know if maybe I'm ready for questions. I'm kind of
The force is strong
I'm kind
in this
of
one.
taking a, I'm like, I made it through the main stuff. Okay.
What does a push and a pull look like? Do you think of a certain thing and then you tie that to the push command, or how does that work?
Okay, well, the easiest way to think about it, and of course a lot of this is you can adjust all kinds of sensitivity and this kind of thing. But the way I approach it, and I think the way it's kind of the software looks for, because it also, the software adapts as you practice, is that you try to visualize it going backwards, or you try to push it sort of like you would actually moving an object. If I had a actual box in front of me, I push with my arms, but instead, like.
It's like a thought way of thinking in your head.
Yeah. It's like if you just you really concentrate on, as though you could physically move it. This kind of thing.
Do or do not. There is no try.
Yeah. Well, it takes a lot of practice too, and there are a lot of also, like, as you practice, you'll start to get really good, after a couple tries, and then you'll start to get worse because you'll kind of feel like you figured it out, and like you get more comfortable, and then like you're not doing it anymore, and then you get frustrated, and so it kind of comes and goes until you get that practice, until you get it. Yes. In the purple mist, yes.
How many times have we heard about it? How many times before you can move the thing back and forth?
Well, to move it at all, it really takes a relatively short period of time. I did briefly consider trying to go through the process up here, because it really is a short period of time. But the problem is, being up on stage, my nerves I thought it might throw it off. But you can start doing it once you get the software running and you get the headset set up, which is more challenging. You can train in neutral state for about 30 seconds, and then you can start going in and you train in 8-second bunches of just trying to push it. And after you train once or twice with the software, you'll be able to start doing it pretty much right away. Controlling it on a more consistent level, especially when you start adding in the other moves, because it's easier if you're only trying to move it one way than if you're trying to move it back and forward like I showed. It does get more challenging. And I'm actually looking at ways to make it a little more intelligent in that regard. But let me get to another question.
The thing you're wearing, what type of sensors are in that?
These are moist saline sensors. It's an EEG headset. In about July, I kickstarted the Emotive company's project for their next headset, the Emotive Insight, and that one uses dry polymer sensors, which I won't know for certain until I actually get mine in the mail, but should improve a lot of the challenges using this, because just the fact that you have to moisten the sensors, you have to get them positioned well and this kind of thing, it is admittedly very challenging, but I wanted to show something neat, maybe not something easy.
So, would you classify this for like a video game? Is it like for lie detecting? And what is the purpose of it?
Well, personally, having not had tech work, actual paid tech work in many years, a big part of this is just proving that I can.
Which I think you've done.
Thank you. Although I definitely have a lot of ideas beyond this. You can use it For games, you can use it for market research. I would think that for the market research side of things, the affective suite would show the most potential because you could get that kind of gauge of someone's reactions. Really, with the SDK, you can take essentially any information the headset can pick up. You could say when someone's mentally pushing with their mind of a strength of at least 20%, and they're excited, that means that, you know, if they're playing a fantasy game, they cast a magic spell or something. Yes.
Is it like a really powerful test for mindfulness abilities, or if you've ever done sort of meditation or anything like that? Like, it's really hard to kind of measure. It seems like you feel better after you do it, but this, do you feel like your focus is stronger, or after you've done it for a while?
Yes, especially since I changed out these for the cotton balls because it's a lot more comfortable. With the original felt sensors, I found that they would press a little too hard, and so I would get headaches after a while. Not to mention, you know, when you first start using it, you get a headache from trying to move that stupid block. Yes?
It seems to be a micro-muscular effect that you're making faces. Is there a certain bandwidth of these sensors, frequencies that they're picking up, or is it a lot of it has to do with the angular motion between all the sensors?
I have a natural habit that when I'm concentrating, I make potentially hilarious facial expressions and such. That's not really what it's measuring as far as the physical. It picks up, except for the gyro mouse, everything else it's picking up is based on the electrical signals. Did I miss part of your question? Yeah. What it's picking up is it's picking up the electrical activity on my scalp as produced essentially by my brain, because that's essentially what an EEG does. Yeah. I'm studying some neurology resources right now to learn how to better use this, but I haven't finished my studies. I think you had your hand up first.
What you've been doing with the SDK, like what kind of things you've been developing personally?
Well, the main projects I've started with, as Chris, did I remember your name right?
You did?
There's hope for me yet. Has had to do with being able to interact with the computer, type, and this kind of thing without physically touching it and interacting. And two reasons I did that is because, one, I'm very interested in the potential for the use of that for people who have disabilities. And the other thing is I wanted to jump straight to the magic of this potential technology. I wanted to do the most impossible-ish thing I could think of. I'm actually doing some studies of neural networks for machine learning is the name of a course I'm working on. And I'm hoping that by understanding that, programming computers in ways similar to how brains work, that I would be able to refine it in a more elegant way.